Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another edition of the Square Roundtable, the show where we break down one specific topic about the world of wrestling. In the last one, we talked about some wrestling-related movies. You can check that out in the channel, as well as an array of different topics. With me is Ryan, Keith, and myself. My name is Juan. And today's topic, we're celebrating key moments that happened that made us, quite frankly, mark out. Because either, holy crap, this person's coming back and we expected it, or holy crap, we never saw that coming. So we're going to talk about 5 specific great WWE returns. This is not a top 5, so it's not in any particular order. We just selected 5 we thought were definitely worth mentioning. You watching, if you have any recommendations, simply drop a comment or send us an email, Byte That Cast. Without further ado, Keith, take it away with the first great return.
All right, so this one I would say is my favorite return of all time, and that was Triple H when he returned from his blown-out quad in 2002. Back during that time, and really just growing up watching wrestling, Triple H was my favorite wrestler. Me and Eugene have that in common. So when Triple H got injured, that was a good joke, by the way, you should have laughed. When Triple H got injured, I was really disappointed, especially because he was just starting that whole 2-man power trip thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I still think that's one of the things that just had all the potential in the world that never got utilized because of injury. And then, Triple H was out for a while. He was out for the entire Invasion angle. And during that time, it was, what if Triple H comes back? What side is he going to be on? And then Triple H finally came back. It was this monumental moment in Madison Square Garden in 2002. If you go back and watch it, I would say it's one of the biggest pops in history. It was crazy. Triple H came back with a whole new look. Still had the jean jacket, but he was bulked. And it was just an incredible moment.
It was a defining moment, Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, just an amazing return, and then to go on to feud with Chris Jericho. I mean, he was a babyface for the first time in a long time too, even though it didn't last super long.
But I mean, it was a key thing. Nobody really thought he was going to come back and as quickly as he did. And I remember watching that eruption, that crowd, holy crap, and the buildup. And it is crazy how, thanks to that injury, we got that kind of return that was like, holy crap, the guy that maybe wasn't going to come back. It also begged the question, as you mentioned, what if Triple H would have been part of the Invasion angle? Who knows how many things would have happened? Would he have been the one to go into Team Alliance as opposed to Stone Cold? It always left a couple of questions, but it brought us back somebody great when later on Stone Cold would no longer be part of WWE after 2003. And then The Rock, he was making his way out into Mr. Hollywood. So a great selection for the first one. Now we're going to get to somebody that stirred up the pot a little bit on Byte This, actually. This was a personal storyline that Ryan's going to kick off with Matt Hardy, No version 1.
Yes, so basically around 2005, there was some rumors about some sort of thing going on where Lita and Edge had gotten together and things were going on there behind Matt Hardy's back.
In real life, of course.
Yes, in real life. And Matt Hardy was kind of just unceremoniously fired on, there's a little post on WWE.com and everyone's like, whoa, Matt Hardy's just gone. And then everyone starts finding about this Edge and Lita thing. And even to the point where Lita at the time was with Kane, and they actually had to pair up Edge and Lita together. They had to turn Lita heel just because you couldn't ignore what was going on, and everyone knew it. And you had audiences at every arena for weeks chanting, "We want Matt, we want Matt." Matt Hardy was making his presence known on the internet and everything. And sure enough, this wasn't the longest, time in between some, years waiting anticipated return, but it was very shocking. All of a sudden, at a random Raw, Matt Hardy just jumps the barricade, starts beating the crap out of Edge, grabs the microphone, says WWE can kiss my ass, And this was done so well that the internet was just going crazy, wondering, was this a work? Like,
No,
did
before
Matt Hardy
that,
just...
there was a backstage beatdown with
Yeah.
no reference.
Yeah, that was right before the commercial break or whatever. We were like, was that Matt Hardy? And like, he just kind of ran off. We couldn't tell. So yeah, people were just like, what the hell is going on? Is this real? Is this fake? It created so much buzz and just was so shocking at the time. And it was super fun. The feud didn't really end too well,
Poor
but
Matt.
the actual build up to it was amazing.
Now, Matt Hardy in this got the short end of the stick. I remember, as I mentioned at the beginning, there was an episode of Byte This, where Lita was
Wonder
being
where they
interviewed.
got that name.
Yeah, right? Related, similar. And Matt Hardy called in, and this is where people were sort of saying, like, is this real or not? Because Matt Hardy was, like, talking about personal stuff, but then it's a WWE show. Why didn't they just cut off the call? Obviously, it was part of the plan. It was in the ladder match, I believe, right, where the feud ended, and then Matt just went to SmackDown and proceeded to do nothing for years, and then we got Brooke and Matt down the line. So, hey, in some form, this was some sort of benefit for Matt Hardy, brother Nero.
It was
thank you for
he was just
bringing that
playing
one
the
up.
long game. Do you think Matt Hardy with this feud is the original keyboard warrior?
In many ways, yes. I mean, he used the internet before the internet was used as a platform for this type of thing in wrestling. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of the precursor to Broken Matt Hardy 10 years earlier, where, I mean, he was even doing that, like, Matt Hardy show thing. He had, like, trailers of his whole compound and all of that, and showing, how he was, he had a little crazy to him. And, I mean, going into that SummerSlam match, I mean, you thought Edge and Matt
You thought they were going to kill each other.
Yeah, literally going to kill each other. And it was a brutal fight. And that's what it was. It was a fight. It wasn't really a match. But yeah, it was all thanks to real life circumstances leading to an epic return.
Mm-hmm. If you want to go back and look at the key moment, at least this is my opinion, during that feud, during that build-up, was it during the Kane and Lita wedding where Matt Hardy's music played, or it was like during an Edge promo?
His
but
music
there was
played,
one moment,
yes, but he did not show up.
and he did not show up, and everybody freaked out about it. It was an amazing moment.
It was the first step of many and showed that sometimes personal things do lead to storylines, but that's always questionable. So let's just move on a little bit. Now, the one I want to bring up is important to me because as a primarily WCW watcher, in 2002, Vince McMahon was not happy with the fact that he needed to share WWE with the Nature Boy Ric Flair, so they were going to be co-owners. That storyline, that was a thing. So he decided to inject WWE with a lethal dose of poison. And then he turned his chair. It was a nice quality chair. It revealed the NWO logo. And then we proceeded to get Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall back in the WWE. So just think about this. The reason, this was the match that was set on fire to initiate the Monday Night War, right? And now here they are coming back. Hulk Hogan. I don't think WWE ever hyped that up enough. Hulk Hogan came back, and here's Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, not Diesel and Razor Ramon. Unfortunately, this later sort of got derailed. You got X-Pac, you got Booker T, you got Shawn Michaels. They split off into a lot of things after Scott Hall needed to be fired because of his whole addiction problem, which unfortunately plagues the world of wrestling. But that initial moment to me was amazing because the possibilities were endless. So we're not here to talk about the whole thing, but just the what if, the moment that was announced. How was that for you guys?
And that's exactly it, that what if moment. When it originally happened, when Vince McMahon turned that chair around, you just sat there and thought to yourself, okay, this is what the invasion was supposed to be. This is that heart, that soul that was missing from the WCW invasion, all of the big guys. And yeah, when Hulk Hogan came back, like you mentioned, they didn't hype it up enough. That's Hulk Hogan again in the WWE. That's no small deal. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, the people that started the Monday Night War, they were officially back. You started to wonder about what are they all going to do? What craziness is going to ensue now that the NWO is actually there? none apparently, but it was a very cool moment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to have these guys, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan back after everything went down with the Monday Night Wars. So now it's like 6-7 years later. These guys hadn't been in the WWE since then. So what's going to happen now? I mean, these were some of the biggest players in this, dream matches for WWE versus WCW. Unfortunately, like, it didn't play out amazingly, but yeah, just to have the Hulk Hogan back in WWE after being the flag bearer for their top competitor, something you never thought would happen.
Yeah, the follow-up was never there when you think about the WrestleMania match with The Rock and Hogan. Even that match, even though it was built icon versus icon, there was always, I think afterwards, people look at it way bigger than they saw it at the moment, because you had Hulk Hogan going in as a bad guy. Come on, that is not happening. And then Stone Cold Scott Hall was this nothing match. Like, nobody treated it as anything.
It had the greatest stunner of all time, so it had something.
It was the one redeeming thing about that match, but NWO taking over WWE, why did that not happen in the invasion angle? It is simply something we will never know.
It's all about the money, that's why.
It's all about the money. Now, Ryan, you brought up that there was some sort of 7-year gap between Hogan, WWE, WCW, that type of stuff. Somebody that followed a similar path was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, because by this point, Hollywood Rock, my personal favorite character, was long gone. Had a one-off thing with Eugene a little while later at WrestleMania with Evolution, and that was the last we really saw about The Rock. It wasn't until this big reveal that Justin Bieber was going to be the host of WrestleMania. That was the long-standing rumor, to the point where even backstage they were saying leave it to Bieber to throw people away. The most electrifying man in all of entertainment came back, Keith. How was that?
And boy, was that a moment when he came back. That's when they were doing that whole guest host of Raw every week. Not like it was every week to the point where it was getting burnt out. So eventually they started doing like, oh, WrestleMania is going to have a guest host. And when they did that, you're like, oh, I guess they're going to do a guest host. And yeah, Justin Bieber was rumored. I remember there being a rumor about Lady Gaga might be the host of WrestleMania at some point.
Because wrestling.
The actual reveal happened, and this is where it comes back to moments. The reveal happened, all the lights went out, and then the whole arena was black, and then you just hear The Rock's music, and every single person in that building lost their freaking mind about it. It was this huge moment. The Rock comes out, there's just electricity flying everywhere. He does his whole stick in the ring. It was incredible.
Yeah, I think a lot of things that kind of make this great, one of them being that, the fact that The Rock had been away so long, like, you really did miss him. And it's, he went off and did his movies. When he came back as Hollywood Rock that time, people didn't like him because he was kind of like, they kind of thought he sold out and all that.
They were checked out on him.
But he really established himself and got real serious with the movies he was making. So when he came back, he was an even bigger star. And I think that just made it mean that much more, because it's now he's not just, hey, he's the, the Rock we used to love from WWE. He's now this kind of pop culture icon coming back, and he's saying, hey, I'm a big star now. I didn't forget my roots.
And I mean, at that time, there was a lot of reason to believe that The Rock and the WWE would never work again with each other, especially with at the Hall of Fame, where he made those comments about the Marine and how crappy that was. And there was like this perceived heat between the company and The Rock. So the fact that he would actually come back, that added a lot to that moment.
It really did, and the goosebumps were real the moment that happened, because nobody thought. I mean, afterwards, some were going, oh, I knew that would happen. Come on.
Of course you did.
Nobody really expected that, and even though it was just as a guest host, we had The Rock come back, and that wouldn't be the first time. I mean, that wouldn't be the last time, I should say. Then we got to see the matches with Cena, which is a completely other topic.
Yep.
Now, the last, and certainly in no way least, for a return, we had a WWE game that had Brock Lesnar as an unlockable character. He was the reveal trailer, and that led to a lot of speculation that Brock Brock Lesnar, Brock and Rock was a pretty good storyline. Not the topic here, but Brock Lesnar was going to be coming back, and in 2012, John Cena was waiting for his next opponent. Lo and behold, you hear the music that everybody loves and recognizes. The next big thing, the Now Conqueror, is back in the WWE. And even though there were rumors about it, and that's why they addressed it the way they did, the fact that why am I still saying The Rock? The fact that Brock Lesnar came back was awesome because he was personally one of my favorites. Ryan, what did you think about the lead up to this and then ultimately Brock Lesnar coming back?
Yeah, I mean, this was right when I was getting back into wrestling, so I didn't really hear too much about the lead up. I know there was a lot of rumors going around that he might return. And when he came back, it was just like, whoa, I mean, Brock's been gone for 8 years and now he's coming back. And there's like all you could think of is there's so many matchups that we'd like to see, you know, so many people he's never fought before. He's never fought CM Punk or Daniel Bryan or, you know, it just so many dream matches are just running through your head because Brock had such an amazing run for the short amount of time he was in WWE, but he really left you wanting more and you didn't think he'd ever come back. So the fact that he came back and he's still Brock, you know, Brock, it's hard to see him change from who he is. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah, much like The Rock, Brock left on very poor terms. There's a lot of scenarios where you could see him and the WWE never working together, especially leaving on that match with Goldberg at WrestleMania 20, going to UFC. There was no way that Brock Lesnar should have come back, but he did, and There was a lot of rumors, like you said, at the time, but it was a cool moment. Like John Cena, he was broken, defeated, just lost to The Rock. Then all of a sudden, the iconic music hits, just F5s John Cena out of his shoes, and really set up a good feud and a good return for Brock.
Yeah, between these 5 returns, with the exception of Triple H, you can see the 4 and go, never say never in WWE. With Matt Hardy, you had the personal situation, which is a whole different a level of seriousness. NWO, maybe there was some kind of pride thing where, no, they betrayed us. They should never come back. With The Rock, he went and did his own thing and came back as Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And Brock Lesnar, he was part of UFC, later on became involved once again with UFC after the whole diverticulitis thing. And a lot of exciting returns in wrestling. Last question, if you had to select one of these 5 as the one that you should go back and watch for one reason or another, which one would it be?
I would say the Triple H one. As I mentioned, it's very close to my heart as that was my favorite wrestler during that time. So it's like this little childhood nostalgia thing, and just go back and listen to the pop that Triple H got when he returned. It was absolutely insane.
I'm actually going to back up Keith on this one. If there's one that is the most audible of return pops, it's the Triple H 2002 one. So I stand by Keith on this one for once, ever.
That deserves the one clap. So there's the one clap for you. I'm actually going to go with Matt Hardy simply because anything after that, people just knew, okay, so WWE's willing to work us with personal things. But the fact that even people that thought that was fake bought into it for at least that one moment, that one backstage segment, made the thing exciting and worth watching, because we won't get anything like that ever again. With everything that's happened in WWE, all the changes, it is simply not an option. So for those watching, which of these 5 would be your favorite WWE related return? Or, if you want us to do a part 2 of this, drop a comment with a variety of different, I should say, returns that happen around the world of wrestling. Yeah, let us know which are your favorites. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, join the family. Check out the podcast, available every single Tuesday night. And if you want to support everything that it is we do, and you want to go behind the scenes and get some early access content, you can do so by becoming a supporter on Patreon. It is a backing platform where you can support your favorite creators. So that is patreon.com/Byte That, or you can get yourself a t-shirt. You can check that out in the description box. So until next time, thank you for watching, and we will be back with tons more right here on Byte That.